Today, I'm going to figure out my compressor's exact configuration. I have a schematic here that I drew up, but I have no idea if this is going to work or not. This just gives me a rough idea of where everything needs to be placed. What I got to do is disconnect this compressor. It's still on its shipping pallet. I need to disconnect it, get it off the pallet, move it into place, and then see how everything is going to be located and how the access is, and then mark that stuff on the wall, slide the compressor back out, and then I can start running lines and fastening all of the equipment to the wall and all that stuff. So first thing to do is get this thing off the pallet. And I'm by myself, and I believe this weighs about 300 pounds, actually over 300 pounds. So it's not going to be easy getting this off the pallet. What I'm thinking is that I'm going to wiggle it over to the edge and then drop it down onto some scrap 2x4 stuff and get one leg onto it, and then wiggle another leg over and get that onto it, and then have a final piece of whatever it is and kind of twist it over and kick the pallet out and get it onto that. And then from there, slowly lower it down to the ground. And by the ground, I mean onto these pads. These are furniture moving pads. I'm hoping this will allow it to slide over into place a lot easier, but that remains to be seen. All right, let me get some tools and get this unbolted, and we'll give her a go. Okay, here's my setup. It's about 20 inches between these feet, and I have this at 20 inches from that foot. I figure if I pivot this over, that will put that back foot right in here somewhere. So I have that piece just in case I need to do a little bit of bridging. And once I have it on blocks, I should be able to just rock it back and forth and take the blocks out. Hopefully this works. This thing is a beast and it's expensive, and I don't want to drop it. A little bit of help would be helpful, but there's just none available right now, and I need to get moving on this. So let's give it a shot. There's not a lot to grab onto on this thing. Exactly what I thought it was going to do. All right, now gotta get this foot down. 20 inches. Okay, getting it off of the pallet went smooth as silk, but it's not going to slide on these furniture movers. It might if I had a couple people and we pushed it real low, but that's just not going to happen. So we're going to go to plan B, and I'm going to move it the same way I move my drill press. We'll just rock it back and forth and get it over into place. Okay, so far so good. It needs to go over this way as much as possible, but it can't be too far. We're going to be connecting this to the side right here, and then we're going to have shielded cable going over to here, so we can't have this rubbing up against that. But we also have to connect this to the whip. You want a flexible connection between your compressor and your first set of gauges. So let me show you this on the schematic here. This is that valve right there on the compressor. We need to connect a whip over to this first set of gauges. And where these are going to be mounted is one of the things I need to figure out. If I'm going to adjust the regulator here, I don't want to have the chance of burning my arm on the motor there. And we need enough room. So we have the valve on the compressor, then the whip. This stuff here is likely going to have to be brass pipe. I have it written on there to get these tight angles in there. And then we're going to be coming out and then just bending that. This is basically PEX with an aluminum core, so it'll hold its shape. So once this is in place, and this has to go, we have to go around and through it this way because these are directional. The air has to go through this way and come out this side. And we have no place where we can really put it on this side. So it's going to have to loop around and then come to here, which isn't a bad thing. And then it'll come out of here, and then I'll just bend the flexible line and then go down and then over to the auto drain. Where is that? This is the auto drain. And, well, I probably should explain that the air that comes out of here is going to be very hot and it's going to be wet. There's always water in it. So you basically want to cool it right away if you can. So what I'm doing, it's going to come around, go through all that stuff, go down and over to the auto drain, and any condensation that's in the lines by that time is just going to go down into here. But from there it goes up and back and forth a couple times where it's going to cool off further. It'll go all the way up to the ceiling where it's going to tee. So any condensation in these lines is going to drop back down and go through this same auto drain. And this auto drain needs to go in this area somewhere, and I'm going to need to make a mount for it because I was thinking that this had a top like these and had a line going in and out on the sides, but it doesn't. It has one coming right out of the top. So I need to redraw this. See, I have it coming in and then going back out. So what I'll probably do, this is not the correct T, but we'll have a T and then a line going up, this line right here, and then we'll have an adapter. These are the adapters. This is not the right size, but we'll have an adapter that hooks up to the proper piping. We'll have to have two adapters on here. This is why I need to have this all in place to figure it out. Then I need to figure out the drains. This is the drain, and it'll fit behind here. I can actually take this out because I was going to use an electric auto drain for the tank. There's going to be several auto drains in the system. I was going to use an electric auto drain for the tank, but I found one online, and this is kind of a representation of it. I'm going to put that down in here somewhere. I have that ordered, so when it gets here, I'll see how to configure that. But let's move this around and play with stuff and see if we can figure out where things are going to go. I have this blue tape. This is 1-inch tape. That is 1-inch OD line. So I should be able to figure out where the lines are going to go on the wall. And then once all that stuff's done, I got to pull a bunch of wire over here, and we'll get this all plumbed in, move this back in place, hook it up, and turn it on. Okay, we have this part right here figured out. The radius starts right here, so this will kind of bend down, and then the gauges will go right like that. And I have the screw locations marked out, as well as where the regulator is going to be and the back end. So what I need to do is move this back that way until I'm comfortable with the position. I think I might be able to move it kind of centered on this joint right here. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We're a little tight right here. Well, it is going to move, but I could just come straight down and come around with the wire, but it really does need to move this way a little bit. So let's get that moved, and then we'll figure out that bottom run and where we're going to put that auto drain. I like that a lot better. But we are going to need to go with a 90-degree elbow and then come back. Yeah, that's pretty tight back there, but it's just going to be a hose going back there. Going to be a hose like that, and then we need an inch of clearance for the actual compressor line. And this can come out, actually. It can come out as far as it wants to, but I'd like it up as tight as possible against the wall, so we won't really worry about how close it is to the wall. Let's see what this looks like now. All right, it will sit right like that. Yeah, the access to the drains under here are right on the fan there, but I don't know if I need access to those or not, unless I'm taking the hoses off, and I can actually move the compressor. The compressor is going to be hooked up with 2 flex lines, the whip and a flexible electric line, so I'll be able to move it later. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. I could go up, but the reason I went here is that there's a girt behind here, a structural member, and I can screw right into it. I can actually go up a little bit. I have those screws in the center. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm going to go up a little bit, and my screws go right there. I'll hit the top of the girt. There's a 2x6 back there, and these screws are in the center of it, so I can go a good deal higher. All right, let's lay that out. Okay, I believe that these drains auto drain, and you can manually drain it by pushing it up like that, but I'm not 100% positive. I know this one auto drains because this is an auto drain, and this one does not have an arrow on it like these do. So it's a lot better with this mounted up higher like this. I changed my layout a little bit, so now I would have full access to the bottom of these, and it's going to be a lot easier to take these off when I got to change the filter and stuff, or clean the filter. So I think we're good to go on that. Now I'm going to figure out this run going across the bottom, which is this one here. Yeah, because this is different than I thought. Oh, I probably should mention that I'm going to put this along with air outlet right here. So in the new configuration, this will have a T going over to the air line, and then it'll come up with a nipple, and then have this, and then where are those? One of these, it'll have a 1/2 inch connector like this. It'll be connected like this, going upwards into the system. So we'll have an air chuck right here, the system line, and this will be all brass down to the auto drain, and then we'll have another one of these on that T that goes over that way. I hope that makes sense, but you'll see it on the wall in just a second. Okay, I got this set up. The line is going to go right underneath that offset, that electrical offset right there. And it's going to have those cooling coils up here somewhere, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, so this is going to have, I think I'm going to get a close fitting. This, I believe, is a 1 inch, so we'll get a shorter fitting. And then we're going to have the T going that way, and then this T and a chuck right there. And I got to figure out how to connect all this stuff to the wall. Oh, actually, I should probably just put this fitting on there. Then I can put some wood behind it and put a metal strap right above this, because this is going to have to be unscrewed occasionally. Yeah, that's what I'll do. This is a 2.5 inch nipple. I think we'll get a 3 inch nipple for right here, and then a couple close nipples for the rest of it. For the one going that way, well, actually, I think we only need one close nipple. Beautiful. Let me see if we got one, actually. Nope. Okay, got her figured out. I'm going to use one of these saddles like this. So this was the 2.5, I believe. Yes, 2.5-inch nipple. I just need another one of those. This one wouldn't actually go right there, but for illustration purposes, we'll have a half nipple going that way, and that will have this adapter on, and then this one will actually be right here, and we'll have another one of these nipples and another one of these, and we're going to put it on a 3/4-inch board, and that will give us clearance for the auto drain, and then we'll offset. All you got to do is bend that pipe. We'll offset back to the wall, and it'll go into these clips, and that'll probably be about 1.5 inches offset. So yeah, these clips will be like one at either end of these radii, and I think they need to be every 60 inches, but I'll put one right in the center there because those are going to be prone to get bumped. Yeah, that'll do it. So I need another 1.5-inch nipple and 3/4 T, and I probably need another adapter. All I have is what they supplied me with this kit, so I don't know exactly by heart what I have, but it doesn't look like. I do have several of these, but I need them for the ends, so I'll have to do some ordering, and that'll do that. Now, well, I'll lay this out, and then we'll move on to the cooling coils. Okay, I got this figured out. There's going to be a radius right here, and on this side, it's going to go right into the T, which is going to be right about there. I want this high enough over this so that my drain line can go behind it. I'm going to make up some kind of a manifold and put that right in here and have it drain to the outside. I have a drain on here, 2 drains on here, and there's also going to be this drain on the bottom of the tank. And that, I'm going to have to figure out all that stuff a little bit later. The 2 that go back here, I'm just going to have them come down and go into one, and then that will go over. We have a line going across here. That's going to go over it, probably over here somewhere. It'll just curl over and go over it, and that'll all connect right down there somewhere. That'll be interesting, but that's not a real big priority today. I just got to figure out the lines so that I can get this in place permanently and get this all wired and stuff, get all this wire and stuff in here. So I know what parts I need, and and with that wooden block on there, I'll figure that out once I get the parts and get everything tightened up. That's going to make this unit really strong, the mounting of this unit. Okay, now we're going to figure out these cooling fins, and that should be it for the day. I'll order some more parts. We'll pull the compressor out of here, and we'll get this whole thing plumbed up and get the wire pulled. Oh, and once the compressor goes back in place, it's going to go on these. This is an anti-vibration mount. It's hard rubber, softer rubber, and then that same hard rubber again. And the slots in the hard rubber go in different directions. All of that is designed to get rid of vibration. Those are going to go on the floor like that. And then the unit itself is going to sit on these hockey pucks. That way, that little rim, that's just a metal rim, will be transferred through this hard rubber evenly down into the anti-vibration pad. You can see that it'll sit right on those. We'll get into that a little bit more later when we hook everything up, but it's not just going to be sitting on the floor, and it's not going to be bolted to the floor. It's not going to go anywhere when it's sitting on these, and that's going to get rid of most of the vibration as well. Don't think I mentioned this either, but I measured this. That is going to get an 8-inch nipple, and then it's going to go like that. This will be about right there, and then it'll get a whip going over to whatever I have coming off of here. This is likely to be an elbow, and then a longer nipple, and then another elbow as well. The thing to watch out for on this configuration is that it can't have any dips or anything in it. Any water that gets in this line that doesn't make it into the gauges here has to be able to drain back into the tank, and then it'll drain out of the tank with this auto drain that is actually being shipped right now. I gotta go order and go buy all of the parts I need. I want to have everything on hand, and when we install this, because the shop's not complete yet, I'm probably just going to cap it off up at the top, cut it so that the T fits on it. Well, actually, I'll put the T on it and just have 2 stub ends and block those off. The chuck that I'm putting over here is going to supply me with any air I need temporarily. I actually didn't even look at that. How? It's going to be real close to this. Yeah, I might want to just come down a little bit. Houston, we have a problem. I think I'm just going to come down. We'll just drop this whole thing down, because that outlet, if I have it here, it's not a problem. But if it's up here, no, actually that won't be a problem. I don't want to mess with this, but we have this in the way the whole way. I don't know. We'll figure it out before we start installing this. But next video will be this going in place.